Hello, everybody. Hi, and welcome. Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America. Specific position, top secret. My name is Brian Engelman, and it is Wednesday, July the 24th, 2024. This is the Agree to Disagree show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. Please hit like, hit subscribe. Por favor. We are broadcasting on various platforms, and not all of these platforms are secure. I do not trust that Meta will let us continue to report the news. I do not trust YouTube to allow our content to remain. So I respectfully ask that you join us in all of the other places. I'll give you a list of those places later on, but for now, we're going to jump into the news and see what's happening. Please feel free to leave your comments. If we start getting some comments here, I might put the overlay over top of the program. Let me mute this here. There we go. All right. What I would like to do is begin by looking at the X feed for the new American media. That would be at American_media_. That's American_media_. So definitely follow us there. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's get into it, shall we? Yeah, a lot of speculation. Biden might be dropping out as early as tonight. Tonight. Is Biden out tonight? I don't know. Everyone's saying he might be out tonight, or everyone's asking the question, will Biden step down tonight? Is Biden still with us? We covered on yesterday's program that he called in, allegedly. And I think Kamala said we had a record. Joe called in. Trying to unpack that. I haven't seen the video. I saw that it was reported that Kamala almost said we had a recording of former Vice President Biden calling in to talk to the campaign team and putting his support behind Kamala. And people are like, was that AI? Why was this released without video? The Biden signature doesn't look like Biden's signature. It wasn't released on official letterhead. Is Biden still with us? We saw a video of him a man that resembles him going from a vehicle a few steps over to a airplane where he held the railing the whole way and walked inside with much more gusto than you've seen Biden walk with in a while. So you wonder, is that actually Joe Biden? This is the weirdest 2 weeks, week and a half of politics I can remember. But we're going to go through this together and unpack the news. Please check out my interview with Gateway pundits Jim Hoft discussing election rigging, Trump's assassination attempt, and J.D. Vance's selection. That was from the Republican convention in Milwaukee. Let's hear what Joe Rogan has to say on this. I haven't really gone to him much. He is one of those that I always like to check out from time to time. And let's listen.
Down about the shooter now. The more you read about it, the more you're like, what is
like
going on?
a BlackRock thing too, right?
Yeah, he did a BlackRock commercial. They knew that there was a suspicious person 10 minutes before Trump went on stage. They still wouldn't let him go on stage. They saw him on the fucking roof, and they didn't engage.
Yeah.
They saw him on the roof with a rifle.
It's a bad Secret
engage.
Service right there.
They wouldn't put Secret Service agents on the roof because they said there was a slope to the roof,
right,
and it would be dangerous.
More dangerous if the ex-president gets shot,
bro,
which he did.
They let him get off. The kid got off 3 shots, and apparently there was one that we saw that hit his ear, and you see the bullet. The photographer got a bullet.
I saw that
flying by. I said,
yeah.
Apparently there's another one of a bullet going by his left side of his head. So it went by.
All right, what? Both sides? Oh, you got to be kidding me. We thought he turned his head ever so slightly to look at a graphic, and that was what saved him. Otherwise, it would have ended him. I'm very curious what Joe's talking about, that there's allegedly another video showing another bullet going off to his other side. That is probably not the same shooter. And I watched a rendering that looked like it showed 2 bullets hit Trump in the ear. Did 2 bullets actually hit him or 1? Man, it's been a week and a half and we do not have clear answers on most of anything that resulted in Kim Cheatle finally resigning yesterday. But why is she not being interrogated after being arrested for suspicion of, attempted assassination and manslaughter of the person that was behind President Trump? The answers that she gave didn't make sense in a way that felt like she was lying. And based upon that, arrest her and interrogate her. But if there's let me hear what he says that about the second bullet. I didn't hear that one yet.
And apparently there was one that we saw that hit his ear, and you see the bullet, like the photographer got a bullet.
I saw that
flying by his head.
Yeah.
And apparently there's another one of a bullet going by his left side of his head. So it went by the right side of his head, hit his ear, and went by the left side of his head as well. Because the guy got off 3 shots.
Yeah.
And he just missed Trump every time.
There's the one shot of him like turning his head, and I'm like,
Yeah.
are you fucking kidding me? It was that close.
Dude, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And the fact that they had such poor security
They were
guarding
terrible.
him, like they did such a terrible job.
My
They knew
uncle's
the guy was
convinced it's
there.
bullshit. My
Dude.
uncle's like, there's no way this is real.
I don't think it's not real, but look, here's the deal. Okay, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Just want to be real clear.
Yeah.
But they have organized assassinations before.
Yeah, whoever
and when
they
they
are.
organize
Usually starts a war.
assassinations, it looks just like that. And when they
It does look just like that.
stuff
You
that's
just
coming
wonder
out
why-
about the shooter now, the
All
more
right, pause it. And it makes you wonder why Trump didn't release the information on Kennedy. The thoughts being that the CIA took him out. Well, wouldn't you release that to protect yourself? Or did he feel like releasing that would put a bigger target on him? I mean, if America was overthrown in the 60s and we're off the gold standard, rampant spending, rampant inflation, loss of civil liberties, endless foreign wars, no border sovereignty, they will not stop going after your right to be armed to protect yourself against tyranny. There is no consent of the governed. All right, let me tell you what Matt Wallace. He reaches a bombshell conclusion. Either the real shooter or someone else tampered with the evidence, suggesting that the person who is the patsy, I don't say his name, that little incel-looking punk, or that someone else tampered with the evidence. So he says, how'd the rifle get more than 10 feet away from the shooter with no trail of blood between it and his body? And if you see there, wait, am I not full screen? Yeah, I guess I'm as full screen as I'm going to get. There's the legs of the idiot. He's pointing. He's like, there's a rifle, but it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 rails away. By the way, does that look like a sloped roof that's unsafe to be on? I can't believe the Secret Service lied about that. That, oh yeah, we couldn't be up there. It's too slopey. Like, that's when you knew that they were in on it, or that they let it happen. Or, it's just hard to believe that they were actually that incompetent. It just feels obviously intentional, especially if you're going to lie about the reason we didn't have somebody there is because it was a sloped roof. Okay, well, just man up and admit your mistake. Or what else are you covering up? Because that's where I'm at. What else are you covering up? What else are you lying to me about? Anyway, this derpy shooter was reportedly taken out by a bullet between the eyes almost immediately after his last shot was fired, right? So they expect us to believe he left his gun there and army crawled sideways 10 feet with superhuman speed before getting shot. Makes no sense to move in that fashion or that direction away from the ladder or the woods. We also know that he didn't throw the gun afterwards because headshots like that are instantly fatal. So okay. I won't show you that. I didn't know that was there. I don't mind because it's timely and it's newsy. But that wasn't what I was aiming at. This person's, in response to what Matt Wallace said, was maybe they threw his gun to the side when they got up there for safety. So you take him out and he's not moving, but then you send someone up there. First thing you do is you grab the gun and you toss it. But I don't think you toss it. I mean, do you seriously walk 4 steps over, set it down, then 4 steps back to someone that's clearly not moving anymore? I don't know. But in the absence of anything believable, we're trying to sort out what other people are saying for you to reach your conclusions. This one is from Amuse. Amuse is just crushing it. Don't know where they came from, but they're putting out good content. But that account is saying more and more clips of Kamala Harris delivering remarks while drunk and or high are surfacing. And the question remains, can she stay on the wagon until the election? Now, in some camps, that's speculation. And in other camps, is it? The behavior obviously resembles someone who's drunk or high. So is she just a weirdo or is she impaired? Anyway, you be the judge here.
Never let anyone take your joy from you. I call myself a joyful warrior. Right? Never let anyone take your joy from you.
Very glassy eyes, repeated herself, long, strange pauses.
Do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do. Do, do, do.
You do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do.
You do what you gotta do.
You do what you gotta do.
And isn't that a wonderful way to live? To know you have purpose.
Yeah, I mean, very glassy eyes. Speculation, but I mean, she speaks in word salad. She is the definition of drivel. But that's a question. If that's who the Dems are putting up there, everything is on the table right now. And we shared a couple of points here on the on the New American Media's Instagram feed. So please follow us at the New American Media. It's on Instagram, the New American Media. But one comment I've heard was, these were 2 posts I stumbled across. Just a friendly reminder that when you say ignorant things about women in power, they don't hear you. But your daughters do. Your mother does. Your sisters hear you. Your nieces hear you too. Yeah, maybe out here. Let me share this tab. I think it's better if you can look at it. And then maybe I can jump back over to X. But please go on our Instagram feed and follow us there, because in the morning when we put out our stories, we definitely do a little bit of research on Instagram. And if you're following us there, you're going to get different content than you will if you only follow us on X or if you only follow us on Facebook. Just definitely follow us in all of the places. But, I really dislike that. I really dislike the condescending manner that this is put together. Here's a good question. Does ignorant mean disagreeing with a Kamala supporter? Yeah. Okay, that's a great question. Thanks for writing it. I think they're on our side, not entirely certain. Whoa, what is that? Oh, that's supposed to say campaign. How do I? Yeah, I'd really... Here. I'm going to do this to correct it since you can't retype it. Intimidation campaign. How do you spell criticism? Crit, C-I-S-I-M. Oh my God, S-M. There we go. Jeez. Intimidation campaign against criticism. Oh, well, had to correct that because I don't like spelling errors. But yeah, I don't like this. You can criticize whoever you want. And what makes something ignorant? You're supposed to believe that every woman who's in a position of power is competent? Do you grant that same level of carte blanche respect, admiration, praise, and trust to any man? Because I thought a couple of weeks ago, I was hearing, people are choosing a bear. They'd rather be alone with a random bear in the woods than a random man. So I don't like this at all. Like, you can't criticize women in power. Of course you can. You criticize anyone in power. You can say whatever you want. You can have whatever belief you want. And yeah, Kamala Harris is about to be vetted in a way that is going to probably make her unable to accept the party's nomination in a couple weeks. I don't see how she gets through the AstroTurf praise campaign that's going around right now. So leave your comment on that. I'm curious to get it. Also, here's another one that I saw being bandied about, and I went, oh no, you didn't. DEI hire is the current N-word substitute. You're gonna see it a lot in the coming months. Be sure to call it out. Wow. That's kind of bold. DEI is diversity, equity, inclusion. And that says that you hit random, unnecessary percentage numbers, quotas of different groups of people for no apparent reason, other than the sheer fact of we want 5%, 10%, 30%. I think the Secret Service wanted 30% women. Why? I don't. I don't want 0%. I don't want 100%. I don't want 30%. I don't want 50%. I want whatever percent is the most capable and qualified for the position. That's it. That's not a knock on anybody. But that little Secret Service girl that couldn't holster her weapon, can she dunk a basketball? Because the president is what, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6"? He's a large man, and your job is to protect. And if you can't get up to dunk a basketball, if you don't have the physical stature to protect a 6'5" dude, then you're unqualified for the position, or unkamalified, as I've been saying it. Unkamalified for the position. DEI stands for didn't earn it. And that's not a knock on any particular group. That's not a knock on any particular sex. As some say, gender is not real. It's male and female. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. It's not a knock on any race. It's not an Indian thing, a black thing, a white thing, an Asian thing, a Canadian thing. I don't know. Canada's a country, not a race. I get it. But if you're trying to put together the best football team possible, let's say, for sake of argument, and you can find my arguments on the Cleveland Browns on the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. I do intend to get back to doing regular sports shows soon. Let's say the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns say, hey, all right, we got to field a team this year, and we need a quarterback. All right. Well, I want the best quarterback that we can find. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go out and do that from the state of Nebraska. What? Yes, we need the best quarterback that we can find with ties to the state of Nebraska. Says the GM. Why would you limit your scope and your search? There's 50 states out there. There's a lot of people, and plus internationally. Why would we limit our search? Well, we have quotas. We don't have enough Nebraska residents on our football team. We have 53 players, and there's 50 states, so we need one player on the team from every state. 53, so then maybe two other states could get 1 and 1. So 2 states will have 2 people, or 3 states will have 2 people. You get my point, whatever. No, I don't get your point. What if I find a great quarterback that's from Florida? Nope, we already have a Florida person. Okay, we're all right. Okay. We're not doing that kindergarten game. You put the round peg through the round hole, the triangle through the triangle, the rectangle through the rectangle, the square through the square. You're not plugging and playing based on that. You're supposed to get qualified, competent people. And DEI says, nope, only Nebraska quarterbacks. Well, why would you ever limit your search? You want the best quarterback, the most competent quarterback, the most cap-friendly quarterback at the best price quarterback. You don't want, you must, let's do an all-out search. We got to put somebody from Nebraska in there. That lowers the percentage of finding the most qualified candidate. Of course it does. The entire point of DEI is ludicrous. It's upside down. Like a lot of Democrat things that they push, to hear the bumper sticker, to hear the catchphrase, it sounds okay. Sort of. For a second. Until you start thinking about it. So to Democrat voters, you got to start thinking. You don't want to exclude the best quarterback from your team just because they happen to be from Virginia. And you have 3 guys from Virginia already. Well, it's unfair that 3 players who played at University of Virginia are on that team. We need representation for Alaska. Well, then kick ass at your job and get hired because you're great. So no, DEI hire is not an N-word substitute. And by the way, I'm fine retiring the N-word if anybody else would be interested in doing that as well. That's how that's successful. Maybe take it away from pop culture. Maybe stop pumping it into songs and just in most circumstances, almost all circumstances, the word just means that dude. That word means dude. What up, my dude? Dude. It's saying dude. So maybe just say dude instead. I'm fine retiring that word. I don't know. Doesn't seem to want to be retired for some reason. Maybe it's intentionally divisive for a reason. Only I may say certain words. No. Words are words and anybody can say them. I don't think they're good. I don't choose to. It's not great. But no, it's not a current N-word substitute. No, we will see DEI in a long time because you know why? Because Joe Biden said, the team said, people around him said, pundits said, we're going to select the most qualified black woman to be our vice president. We're going to select a great quarterback from the state of Nebraska. You play in Cleveland and you can hire from all across the world. Like literally the best, most qualified person for the job. But Kamala is unqualified. Unqualified. So there you go. This is going around. Let's get ahead of it and learn how to combat that. It's not because of anything culturally. It's not because of anything socially. It's a numbers game. It's a percentage game. If you limit a search, you're missing out on the opportunity for the best, and you're settling for something that fits a demographic. Well, I found a rectangle that goes in there. Found a triangle that goes in there. Woo! Okay, so I got Buttigieg there. He checks a box. I got Kamala there. That checks a box. You got that guy in the military in the dress that's stealing other dresses. Okay, he checks the box. What other boxes can we check? It's like, how about just do a job? How about focus on running the country competently, staying strong and protecting our homeland? No, you know what? Instead, how about do the exact opposite? So anyway, I just want you to also remember this gem that we put on the New American Media's Instagram feed. Obama takes this L. Joe was obviously senile, and it was Obama in the basement all along. We're giving Obama the credit as the worst president. This third term with Joe at the end of puppet strings was breathtaking. Jimmy Carter lived to see someone claim worst president title. So, agree or disagree with that, go ahead and check it out on the Instagram feed. Would you? All right. Now, back over to here to the sniping. Get away from ladies and racists sniping at other people saying, you may not criticize me. I have a golden shield. I have a cloak of invisibility. No, you do not. Everybody may be criticized. So here we go. We'll just let this play for you. It should speak for itself.
I'm just going to say it. Are you aware, sir, that many Americans believe this was very likely not a lone shooter, but a coordinated assassination attempt? Have you been getting those messages from people like I have?
I have not, sir.
You have?
He has not. Of course you have.
Well, there's a lot of people in this room that have been getting the same messages Why do you think that is? Why do you think that a lot of Americans are like, this doesn't add up, this doesn't make sense, guys? How could this many things have gone wrong, right? Like,
it wasn't one mistake. You don't get past the outer security with a ladder, with a backpack, with a rifle. It's just you don't do it. It's not a thing. You don't get to fly a drone up in the sky. And then why were people pointing at the water tower? There were a lot of eyewitness accounts that say there were multiple people there.
Like the things that I pointed out, 20-year-old kid, 150 yards of the president.
That was one football field away with a straight-on shot. That is the very first thing you protect is that rooftop. You know it. I know it. You know it. The American people know it. Oh, doggone it. All right, here we go.
United States with an AR-15 flew a drone to conduct site surveillance, was spotted with the rangefinder, ranging targets, then lost, had advanced explosive devices on him.
Yeah. Something lost in this. We're a week and a half later, and we don't have all the answers. But he had explosives. I believe his car was rigged with explosives. Where's this kid get this training? This story is just all sorts of wonky. It feels like there were multiple people involved and that this was an obvious inside job.
With no military training, nobody was placed in the most obvious spot to conduct counter-sniper operations. I was a sniper in the SEAL team's colonel. As soon as I got out of the SUV and I saw that water tower, I was like, that's exactly where I'd be. Put me right there. So,
because that's Overwatch. You were up above, you got the perch. I don't know what they call it, a king's perch or a pirate perch, or I don't know. I've heard something about a perch somewhere, but yeah, you have Overwatch. You were the tallest person there and you look down upon everything with a 360. That's where you go, is that water tower.
So obvious. After partisan attempts to...
And the building smack dab one football field away. That's the very first building you secure, and you secure it by putting a man up there. A human up there. Could be a woman. Okay. You don't need to be tall. You don't need to be 6'6" to pull a trigger. But you got to be good. I don't want different qualification levels for Secret Service based on the sex, based on what's in your pants. I don't care. I want the same high quality standards. That's it. No degradation. If you can meet the standard, good for you. If any lady wants to play in male sports, jump right in. Of course, we will never let men beat up on women in sports because that's obvious. You don't do that. But if any woman wants to qualify with the men's leagues, have at it. I mean, there's plenty of places like poker and billiards and cornhole. There's plenty of ways to compete, men and women, without having any physical. It's clearly playing poker, there's no physical advantage. I mean, there's stamina involved because these games last, I don't know, they play 10 hours in a row or whatever. But sure, if you're good enough, fine. I wouldn't recommend a lady jump on and try to become a linebacker for an NFL team. That just sounds scary. I mean, if they're up to it and they can handle it, have at it. But I mean, it's very violent. And women in general are much more diminutive, are smaller framed, lesser bone density. Yes, there are differences, biological differences between men and women. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to him.
So obvious. After partisan attempts to bankrupt him, imprison him for 750 years, and countless depictions as a modern-day Hitler, are you surprised, sir, that a lot of Americans are like, maybe there's more to this story?
I wouldn't begin to speculate about what the American people think, sir.
Colonel, did your team make entry and conduct investigation?
I mean, he didn't really ask him an answerable question, but I mean, he did make his point. This Biden administration with Kamala Harris behind the scenes and Barack Hussein Obama in his basement wearing pajamas and an earpiece, his administration, a lot of the same officials calling the shots. Yeah, you've attacked Trump in ways that I've never seen a person more framed than Donald Trump by the former president. He was spied upon. The phony FISA warrants, they were setting him up. They were spying on him as president, before president. They've been trying to take him out every way possible, and you can't. You can't. Because your ideas are terrible. Everybody sees it. Donald Trump, he's a boss. America needs somebody in the boardroom that's like, all right, what in the world is broken right now? Get him in here. Get him on the phone. Set this up. Make a deal. He works. He is friggin' tireless. The guy works, and America needs a boss right now. It's like the parents went away for a 3-day weekend. They're like, all right, can you guys watch the house? They're like, yes. Promise me it'll be good. Yeah, I promise. Okay. Well, the mess that this administration has made of our country is just despicable. And yeah, the same people behind trying to lawfare Trump, trying to throw him in jail, trying to cage him so that they can then pass something that says, if you're a former president, but you've been convicted of a kangaroo crime by the rival administration, then we can revoke your Secret Service protection so that we can Epstein you in prison. They're openly, that's the only reason you do that, is because you're trying to have a public lynching. The same party that made a big deal about, we're going to sign something against lynching. You're like, bro, it's 2020. When did they do that? 22, 21? It's like, I don't remember a single lynching story in the news my entire life. There might have been a couple. But they are publicly trying to lynch Donald Trump. They are openly saying, we want to strip his security so that we can off him after we kidnap him, after finding him guilty in a kangaroo court on trumped up charges. They're literally telling you they want to end him. They want to assassinate him. So no, I understand that this guy can't speculate to what other people are saying.
To the story?
I wouldn't be able to speculate about what the American people think, sir.
Colonel, did your team make entry and conduct investigation at the suspect's home prior to this shooting?
Excuse me, sir?
Ooh, look at that. Oh, God, that is an interesting question. And look at his pause. He knows that he can't answer this, so he stalls for time, asking for, can you repeat that? I'm sorry, what?
Did your team make entry and conduct investigation at the suspect's home?
He left that open-ended. Then he started answering. Then he clarified.
Prior to this shooting?
He looks down. He looks away. He looks off. He's thinking. He's blinking. Colonel Paris. I wish he would have just left that question sitting out there instead of saying prior. Let him say his yes or no and then say prior specifically. Are you sure you want to perjure yourself?
What the American people think, sir?
Colonel, did your team make entry and conduct investigation at the suspect's home prior to this shooting?
Excuse me, sir? I've asked that question.
Did your team make entry and conduct any investigation at the suspect's home?
I believe we had people that participated in that securing of it. There were bomb assets that we provided.
Mr. Chairman, can I have 30 more seconds?
Yeah, I'm letting everybody come.
Okay. On the night of. Since then, none.
Did you get any reports from any of your agents of anything?
There were bomb assets there. They said the night of.
Okay.
On the night of. Since then, none.
Did you get any reports from any of your agents of anything fishy at the home?
Oh, man, is he blinking furiously. Pausing, trying to think. Hit reset. Snap out of it. Control Alt Delete. What do I say here? That's
anything fishy at the home?
I was briefed on.
Was there any silverware
I caught 11, 12, or 13 blinks right there.
found in the home?
Nothing in the briefing that I was given.
Was it?
He's asking, was there silverware and trash in the home? Because it doesn't feel like a home. It looks like a staging ground. It's not a real home.
I was briefed on.
Was there any silverware found in the home or trash?
I have nothing in the briefing that I was given.
Was it extremely clean, almost like a medical lab? Were you given any of those reports?
I wasn't giving any of those.
He wasn't told any of that?
Okay, that's what I'm hearing. Interesting.
All right. So the guy's home wasn't a home. Alex is saying the cover-up has collapsed. Liz is saying, I was a sniper in the SEAL teams, Colonel, and this is just obvious. Are you surprised that a lot of Americans think there might be more to this story? I guess this is the same.
Prior to the shooting?
Yeah, it says.
Excuse me, sir. Is that a question?
Did your team make entry and conduct any investigation at the suspect's home?
I believe we had people that.
Oh man, he's stammering here. So that's Representative Eli Crane questioning the state police commissioner, Colonel Paris. He looks nervous. He really does. The shooter's home was reportedly without silverware, no trash, and was extremely clean, like a medical lab. The state police reportedly made an entry into Crook's home. What's interesting is Eli Crane said prior to the shooting at first. So they want to know if anyone from their team was in there prior to the day of the shooting. Oh, they know something, and they're getting him on the record lying about it. That's why he was blinking and pausing so much, because he knows he's caught. That's my quick interpretation. I don't know if that's actually the case. We'll see how this shakes out. But I think that I'm inferring the same thing. He said prior to the day of the shooting. And that is a very important distinction. Was this guy known? Was he on their radar? Was he reported previously? Why didn't the parents? There's a story that the parents came out and they warned everybody, hey, there's something off with our boy. He's missing. We fear he's going to do something really bad. Okay. Colonel Paris says members of his team were involved, providing bomb assets the night of the shooting. He says he wasn't given any of the details of anything fishy at the home. So, all right, that's a huge rabbit hole to go down. All right, well, keep digging there. There's something going on in that story. Nick Sortor is saying that just in massive crowds are waiting for President Trump's rally in North Carolina tonight, and it's still over 6 hours away. That was from 3 hours ago, so maybe it's coming up here at 6 or 7 or 8. Keep in mind, it's noon on a weekday right now. This is too big to rig. Place is packed, jam-packed. Is there security? Is there Secret Service? Is there protection? Can you trust these? Read a report yesterday saying that Trump's been told to stop having these. I don't love that he's having these. But, you got to pick the wrench. Either you let them beat you or you don't. All right, let me just pivot over to something about Elon. This is an interesting line of questioning and an interesting answer. I'm sure you heard this story about Elon donating $45 million a month. Well, he was asked about it. I mean, is this a Congress? I'm not sure the context, but here you go.
Mr. Musk, are you still going to donate to Trump? Do you still donate $45 million? I'm sorry?
At no point did I say that I was donating $45 million a month to Trump. That was a fiction made up by the Wall Street Journal.
All right, so he says at no point did I say that I was donating $45 million to Trump. That was a fiction made up by the Wall Street Journal. Good. Look, this is reporting. This is what the media is supposed to be. You find somebody, you get them on camera, you ask them something, they clarify their position, and my, oh my, the plot thickens. Where did that come from? So interesting. You heard the number 81 million yesterday. Oh, Kamala Harris. She's the most popular presidential candidate in history. Look, she raised $81 million. Joe Biden's the most popular president of all time. He got 81 million totally legitimate votes. Oh, did you? Oh, did you now? Yeah, I don't know about that. But that's a story they're telling you, isn't it? 45 because he was president 45. Cult 45. Trump 45. So that's interesting. Now, wherever that story came from, he said it was fabricated. I'll play you a moment of this. I don't think we need to go too in-depth, but this is important. I mean, just refresh your memory here. Elon says about 3 weeks ago, the media told you that Biden was sharp as a tack. And then 2 days ago, the poor guy was basically forced at gunpoint to resign as the Democrat nominee. His staff weren't even informed. Now they say Kamala is the best thing ever.
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America, billionaires in America.
This
That's such a great noise.
is a man who is sharp, who is on top of his game, who knows what's going on.
He's smart. He's on his game. His mental
It
acuity.
almost looks like he's listening. Huh, that's interesting. Remember, he had the choice of podium, or if he wanted to go first or second, or if he wanted which position. I forget how they delineated that, but it was like, oh, okay. Something about that podium. Like, did he have an earpiece? Was somebody telling him what to say? It looks like he's listening to something and trying to make it look like he's not listening. I'm sorry, without trying to make it look like he's not listening.
Is great.
This is a very sharp president.
And the people that I've talked to say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine.
They say he's sharp.
there's not a problem.
He was sharp.
He was sharper than anyone I've spoken to.
The president is sharp and he is tireless. He is sharp.
As sharp
They've called him Sterling Sharp.
as ever.
And he's fine. All this
They've called him Libertarian presidential nominee Larry Sharp.
right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity is declined is wrong.
His brain is good. He's still great.
His favorite cheese is sharp.
He is sharp in meetings.
I believe the people who say that behind closed doors Joe Biden remains sharp.
In meetings,
The knives of the people stabbing him in the back are
Joe
sharp.
Biden is sharp.
He's sharp. He's fit.
Now, there is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp.
All right. So, he's got that confused 1,000-yard stare. So they told you for weeks, just a few weeks ago, he's sharp as a tack. Now he's out, and they're saying Kamala is the best thing ever. So take that with a grain of salt. These people lie about everything. James Woods here says a presidential candidate was inches from being killed. An American hero was killed, and 2 Americans critically wounded by a secret assassin with a whitewashed personal history. Yeah, no social media? Look, come on. Anyway. And Gerald Nadler asks for a defense of DEI hiring during the congressional investigation. Priorities are so upside down. The Hill says, quote, "It's time to talk about Donald Trump's age." These people that were telling you for 4 years, no, there's nothing wrong with Biden, nothing wrong with his age. Now they want to talk about age. Well, look, it's not about age. It's not about just having an age. It's about competence. And Trump is showing high levels of competence. And he just picked a young vice president to be there in case he's unable to fulfill his duties. And I think he's earned the right after everything he's been through to pick his successor. There you have it. There's the answer to the age. Done. Nothing else to see here. But Oilfield Rando says, my dude just took a bullet, got back up to tell his would-be assassin to get screwed, and then went and played 18 holes. It's laughable to think this line of attack has any legs. And just like I said earlier, some of these lines of attack, it's the lines of attack are pitiful right now. You knew they were going to come out and say something, but just they have nothing to say. Jeez, that picture. Oh, they almost got him. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father above, continue to protect Donald Trump and the Secret Service and the attendees of any rally against any potential threat. Send all your extra angels wherever this guy and his team are at because they're needed. Amen. So here's something from Good Morning America. What do you hear here?
Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas starts us off from Washington. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. Our audience is about to see the frantic seconds in the moments after the gunman tried to kill former President Trump. It's all caught on police body cam video. And warning to our family at home.
Did you hear it?
What you're about to see may be disturbing.
Did you hear this? Let's try this again.
Our audience is about to see the frantic seconds in the moments after the gunman tried to kill former President Trump. It's all
right. So this is Yanny and Laurel. Yanny, Laurel. What was it? Space Needle and What was the other one? Oh, Green Needle. It was Green Needle and Brainstorm. You remember that? Here, watch this. Or I don't have it on the screen, but let's play this. Okay, we're good now? Okay, jeez. Will you hush? I clicked the button for no volume. Where's no volume? All right, ready? What do you hear? Do you hear Green Needle or Brainstorm? And the audio is kind of janky on that. But it's kind of like if you're looking at the word brainstorm, you'll hear brainstorm. If you're looking at the word Green Needle, you'll hear Green Needle. There we go. Here's another one. What do you hear? Yanny or Laurel? Yanny or Laurel? Yanny. What the heck? That's not what I... Doggone it. Ugh. My kingdom for a producer. There we go. That's not it. That's just Yanny. What's this one? Okay, that sucks. Anyway, you heard the other one, Green Needle and Brainstorm, right? So the question is, what do you hear Pierre Thomas say here? This was shared, and it said that the government tried to kill Donald Trump. All right. Wow. That was a Freudian slip, huh? But Green Needle and Brainstorm, what if he says gunman? It sounds like both government or gunman. Government or gunman. All right, switching tabs here. I thought I already switched tabs. Once again, my kingdom for a producer. Okay, I think we should be showing this now. So I heard this and I thought it was a Freudian slip that he said government. I could hear where it could be perceived to be gunman. So that is making its way around. Just understand it. It sounds like both. It sounds a lot like government if he's saying gunman. Sounds a lot like gunman if he's saying government. Anyway, let's listen to this. Simon Ateba put this out here. Let's go ahead and give this a moment of our time. Director Ray of the FBI. "200 yards away, they failed to secure air superiority." For the love of God. 200 yards is not a long, that is not a far distance. That's 2 football fields minus the end zones. Okay, fine. It wasn't directly over, but 200 yards away up, you see everything. You see everything you need to see logistically. At least Ray is giving specifics and saying this is everything can change. We have some reports. We're trying to do the best we can to nail it down. That Secret Service director, I am extra convinced of her guilt and her complicity in this event because of her actions. She didn't call the people on the ground for 72 hours. She didn't go to the scene 9 days later. She's showing zero interest in figuring out what went wrong. So either she condones it or her lack of interest was intentional to allow it. Or the other thing that bothers me about Cheatle's reaction is that when she did answer, she lied. Why didn't you have somebody up on the roof? Well, there's a slope. No, there's not. There's nothing scary slopey about it. It is the most mild, sloped roof of all time. That is not the reason. The reports were saying that it was too hot. So they decided to go, we'll secure this building from inside in the air conditioning. I'm sorry, what? Not even patrolling on the ground, doing laps around the building, which you could also circumvent by figuring out where they're going and time it, and then you'd go, and then that wouldn't stop anyone. But then yesterday, if you check out yesterday's show, we put up there images of video from the building where people were on the inside, and they were looking right over that roof. And if anyone was there, I guess there were multiple people staged there. They would have seen that shooter right there on that roof, and it's right next, like you could throw a basketball onto it. That close, roughly that close. So when Cheatle did provide information, they were lies. We didn't even get to the second level of carnage. He had bombs too. And by the way, drones can have payloads attached to them to drop. God, it's like, how was that left so wide open? Two explosive devices in his vehicle, one at his residence. Remotely detonated. Well, let's think about this. If he's up there and he gets a shot, you have to know that if you get away with it, you're going to get taken out. I mean, or not. Maybe the guy is a lunatic and he has his groomer, his handler. We shared the alleged cell phone and device data that shows somebody had been repeatedly traveling from his place to a building right by the FBI in DC. Was someone grooming him? Was somebody training him, setting him up, providing him with these things and helping put the plan in place? Then you just let this patsy go out there. Meanwhile, you're in another secure location at that building and you're taking the real shots, or you have somebody up in the tower taking shots, somebody up in the tree taking shots. This is wild. I mean, is there any universe where this kid could have been groomed and confused enough to think, all right, so here's the plan. Get up there, wait till, at whatever, then take the shot. Then afterward, then detonate the devices or get down off the roof. Like, you'll be fine. Did he think he was going to survive the attempt? I mean, nobody thought he could have even gotten to that position, let alone taken the shot that worked, which it didn't, thank God, and or survived afterward. So when was he supposed to press those remote detonation devices to make those things happen? Did he do that and try to do it, but they failed? Every day we get more and more questions. Getting a few specifics now. That's good, because Cheatle gave us nothing. It's almost like she got that loose lips sink ships coaching. Kimberly Cheatle would have been perfectly within her purview, perfectly acceptable to keep adding these qualifiers. I can't say that too many times. This can all change. I do have reports suggesting it's close to this. Some of this could be incorrect. Obviously, a lot changes, and we're just getting started, although we're 9 days in. All hands on deck to figure it out. Well, not all hands, because Kimberly Cheatle doesn't appear to care at all. But I appreciate at least, getting information, whether it's misinformation or disinformation or information, we don't know. But at least it's something to pin on him and say, hey, man, you told us this, if we find out that it's not that. And that's the point of good journalism. That's the point of Congress. That's the point of getting things done and fixing problems. Far too few solutions are actually making the rounds these days. One more time. So they're saying that when they discovered these devices, the receivers, based on the on-off position, they wouldn't have worked. So did the person get set up? Okay, so maybe prior to taking the shot, the plan was, they said immediately after the shooting, would you have pressed this button to cause a diversion somewhere else, so that now in the chaos, nobody knows who's now there's an explosion in the parking lot and everything is, maybe that would give you the time to slip off the roof and disappear unnoticed. Maybe. Or maybe the plan was detonated at his house to clear things so that there's no evidence. Then press the next button in the car. So if that happens and everybody looks over there, and while he's looking there, bang, 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 bang. But to get to this point and have a plan in place like this, wouldn't he have known to turn the devices on? That feels a little impossible to me. Someone with the sophistication enough to put this plan in action. He's saying that they were turned off. So did one of his handlers turn these things off to make sure that he didn't have a diversion to escape, so that he could absolutely be taken out and then blamed as the patsy? Whereas maybe he was coached up and they said, hey, take your shots, press this button real quick. There's going to be such chaos, you're going to slip into the crowd. The groomers, the handlers, knowing full well, buddy, we turn these off. They're never going to work. You're going down. They're going to see you. They're going to end you. And you're not going to be able to tell your story about who you talked to. Allegedly, a person that was going back and forth between the shooter's home and a building right near the FBI headquarters. Preliminary information. Please continue to do additional research. So many questions. We've been hearing this for a while. He takes a very deep breath here. Ready to put out some baloney or resetting to shift gears? I don't know. Oh, wow. That is a long pause and a long so. So, whoa. These are all stalls. Jim Jordan speeding along like you're filibustering. Come on, man. Get to the point. Well, the question I'm about to ask might be what he's asking here. What exactly? What encryption are we talking? WhatsApp? We're saying Signal. We're saying Telegram, Snapchat, or something else. Okay, maybe he's not going there, but that's the question I have. Five minutes in between. He's identified on the roof, and they let him have 5 minutes instead of immediately peeling Trump off and investigating. Wow. Okay, that's the question. And Ray has now closed his eyes. If you're listening to our Spotify podcast, please like and subscribe to the show real quick. And make sure you hit up our The Agree to Disagree Show podcast on Spotify and Apple, please. Hitting a reset, getting a nice pause in. That was mental gymnastics. That was filibustering. That was a whole sentence that didn't need to be said at all. Why did he say it? Yeah. Identified. Who's he talking to up there? Notice Ray did not answer that question. I suspect he's not going to provide Congress with that. Prove me wrong. Wow. So we learned a lot there, and I definitely caught him not answering. 6:09, the shooter was identified on the roof, and then a little over a minute after that, at 6:11, that's when the shooter fired several shots. Oh, so it was 2 minutes. Okay. 6:11, when the shooter fired several shots, and then 1 minute later, counter sniper team took down the shooter at 6:12. So, I mean, there was a minute and a half, 2 minutes identified, and nobody pulled the trigger. Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan highlighted that the counter sniper team struggled to find a clear shot until the shooter began firing. Despite missed opportunities, a single counter sniper successfully neutralized the threat, preventing further violence. Wow, that is a lot to unpack. Here's another. This is Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey, one of the best people on Capitol Hill, always. A treasure for America. This business about the ladder. Yeah, I mean, was it set up for him in advance? There's no way you do a sweep of the grounds and leave a ladder out. In fact, you might shut the whole thing down saying somebody on the inside left a ladder out intentionally. Who's behind this? And you reverse engineer. And maybe the threat is so big and such a failure to allow that to happen in the first place that you just tell the president, look, despite your best efforts, you're not safe here. You can't go on. There's a rat in your midst. Why would he have the? I mean, did he go that morning to get the ladder? Why would he have a bloodied receipt on him? Okay, so he spilled blood, but like, why would he have that receipt on his physical person? Forensic pieces? Where's the video? You're telling me there was no video surveillance of this area? Maybe that's how they let a drone go up 200 yards away. The 5-foot ladder was not in this guy's vehicle. The 5-foot ladder was not. Did he say his house or did he say, hang on, let me. Near the roof. So he's saying that ladder that he bought was not there and not at the vehicle. Okay, that's yeah, how did he get up there? Just literally, what's the anyway, just a reminder, Sherry puts out someone needs to go to prison. Video of several rally goers pointing out the assassin well before he took shots at the president. Will charges be filed? Just to remind you. There he is right there. Right there, see him. I mean, people are pointing, people are watching, people are, hey, help! Like there's someone there. Jeez. That woman yelled loudly during a quiet part. He's on the roof. Jeez. Let's listen to Mike Benz here. Yeah. Why was there a pipe bomb at the DNC on January 6th? And he's saying the Secret Service is responsible for that. They hid that. They obfuscated that. They were definitely not forthcoming about that. And I get that it's embarrassing, but were they going to try to take Kamala out? She was right there at that bomb. Huge failure. If you're looking, there's no way you miss that. Once again, this is the body camera situation with police. You need to wear the body camera, number one, to prevent you from being falsely accused of nonsense. I mean, geez, I feel like the whole Summer of Love would have been very different if you would have watched the entire beginning video of the cop approaching, the guy in the car, and the guy in the car was like, you could hear him hyperventilating. You could hear that he was having difficulty breathing because they said he popped a whole bunch of a lethal dose of fentanyl because he didn't want to get busted with it. And he freaked out. And watch him in the back of the car. He's taken to the back of the cop car. And he's completely freaking out. I can't go in there. I can't go in there. Don't put me in there. It's like, well, you're under arrest. You go in there. And he squirmed and wiggled his way out of the cop car. They weren't abusing this guy. But you didn't see that video. You saw after he wiggled out the other open door and then got on the ground, you saw the knee to the top of the shoulders. You saw the forensic report that says, that his larynx was not crushed, his throat was not broken, his spine was not severed, he wasn't strangled. Like, this is an overdose. But all you saw was a cop with his knees grinding him into the ground, and he was murdered by a cop. And you're like, watch the body cam footage of that entire interaction. He was just calmly arrested and calmly placed into the backseat of a car, and he was the one that got out. So it's that Rupar effect. If you take out when the president says, and I'm not talking about that group or that group, they should be condemned completely. I'm just saying there's people here in Charlottesville that are saying, leave the statue alone. It's part of our history. I don't know. You want to build another statue for different context? Fine. But don't take it down. The other side's like, no, take it down. That guy was bad. There's fine people on both sides of that argument. But that they selectively take out the part and go, look, Trump said these people and those people, these awful groups, they're fine people. No, he never said that. So in the Floyd situation, the media did not show you all of the other context. And it didn't show you those forensic reports that said that there was it didn't result in it. Like, we can't find a cause of death that you can attribute to the actions of that officer. But they don't show you that. So either they omit parts that clearly explain something really well, or they show you a little piece of it without the context. And that stuff has to stop. But once again, it stops if you make it stop. As a savvy consumer of information, you have to understand that when you see a video clip, you got to get the before and the after. It takes a while to figure out what a story is. You don't just hurry up and run to the center of town and start throwing Molotov cocktails or something. So the point being, you should not be allowed to purge your evidence. That, like, all this stuff should be in duplicate. If it's used in the system, then it's stored on the database. I don't know, somewhere in Hillary's condominium closet on a private server, perhaps. And we've been trying to get more information on these pipe bombs to begin with, but now it's like, all right, here's lapses. Here are some severe failures. Let's kind of connect the dots and walk it back a couple years, because there's a lot of shadiness occurring here. Yeah, I mean that's a specialized technique. So many unanswered questions. Where'd this kid get this training? Is it the person that kept going back and forth, allegedly from his place to a building right by the FBI? And by the way, remember the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping that the Fed set up? Try to find a couple of rubes. They were the ones that instigated all of it, and they tried to pin it on them. And that's like, look what we stopped. It's like, hold on, you're saying that wrong. Look what we started. Look what we created. Look what we set in motion. That's not okay. Good. The Fed napping. This is insane. He became a Truman Show. The same FBI head we're talking about, Ray. Jeez. Goodness. So how can you expect the FBI to investigate when they're clearly up to this type of stuff? So that's their claim, at least in some cases, is like, no, 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 we didn't train them to do it. We trained them to make sure they didn't know how to do it correctly. Okay. That's astonishing, and that's frightening. These all right. Didn't play that. Thank you. All right. So just you got that context, fine. What else can we say about it? It's just we're living in a cuckoo clock. They're also saying Biden's Secret Service screwing up again. They actually let a Palestinian youth A Palestinian youth terrorist organization spread maggots and crickets around Benjamin Netanyahu's hotel. Is this all purposeful? Maggots and crickets all over the place. Okay. Well, look, you can like Palestinians, you can like Israelis, you can like Netanyahu, you can dislike him. Okay. But how is somebody getting to the point where they can do that? How are they not protecting the foreign dignitaries? I mean, they are asleep at the switch, I'm telling you. Asleep at the switch. It's just like there is no one in control. Nobody. I'm sort of at a loss of words. It's like the things that are allowed to happen. It's like, well, I guess nobody's really in charge anywhere. Act accordingly, people. You know, they say guns save lives and police clean crime scenes. When seconds count, police are only minutes away. So I encourage all of you to be prepared for any sort of situation you can imagine. And through training, you'll be more comfortable should you ever have to jump in and defend yourself, since maybe nobody else can. Anyway, just to recap, here's from Benny Johnson. FBI Director Wray reveals shocking details of the failures. There you go. He had the drone up in the air for 11 minutes in Butler, Pennsylvania. FBI got 3 explosive devices. Crooks had the explosive transmitter with him on the roof, and he used the encrypted messaging apps, but we're trying to figure out which ones those are. People are asking, here's this picture, here's this video. Oh. Okay, hold on. I can't play music. Come on, I gotta mute this. Don't do music. But they say they're pointing at the trees. Is this video going to load, or is it going to be wonky with me? It's being wonky. Okay. Anyway, this post says, I wonder why the police are climbing up a tree. What's up in this tree? All right, something to consider. Maybe you'll have better luck playing that video if you go on our X feed at American_media_. Yes, this is what's going on. You got Palestinian protesters outside Watergate Hotel in D.C. yelling about killing Jews, and he ended with Netanyahu, we're going to take his neck off. That's a news to share video. I think it's like right at the beginning. Anyway, a whole bunch of yelling. So that's happening now. This was Rashida Tlaib making a big ruckus at some other event. Super angry. Don't be surprised if Rashida Tlaib pulls another stunt like this during Netanyahu's speech to Congress. Thomas Massey said, no, thank you. I don't want to go to a war rally. There's several people on the Democrat side saying they will not attend. Okay, this is from Ryan, replying to Ryan Fournier. The cell phone associated with the home and work addresses of would-be assassin, his name, visited the Gallery Place building in Washington, D.C. that houses a mall and offices of the FBI. Is the evidence overwhelming yet? Okay. I mean, he could have went to the mall, but I digress. Once again, I hear government. I guess government and gunmen. I get how those can be mixed up there. DC Drano says, you want to know how powerful the deep state is? We are 1 inch away from having 2 people on the presidential ballot that nobody voted for in the primaries. 1 inch. We do not live in a free country until the deep state is dismantled and destroyed. Agree or disagree? Let's listen to Kash Patel here. I'm sorry, he said fair, open, and transparent. You got to be kidding me, DNC, Jamie Harrison. She has gravitas? Yeah. Where are the legal challenges going to be? You know, this is the 3rd straight time that the Democrats have rigged their primaries. It's stunning how many times the Democrats accuse others of exactly what they're doing. You're going to end democracy. We're going to end democracy. Yeah, you're talking about the thing that you're actually doing, the thing that you are literally doing right now. They love pointing out and blaming someone else for what they're currently in the act of committing. Skullduggery. That's a great word. But it's true. It's true. This is blackmail, threats, subterfuge. Huh. Wearing a wire to try to entrap Trump. That's just, it's stunning that anybody could ever vote Democrat again. Understand you have personal feelings on the fact that if you get pregnant, you should be able to undo that. I understand. I get it. I mean, that's a state issue. It's not something that should be decided from Washington. And in fact, taking that away and sending it back to the states, that means that it's out of the hands of politicians like Trump, which is a good thing, right? That's supposed to be a good thing. But really, take 10 seconds and think about the Democrats and ask, well, what in the world do they do to make anything around them any better? I have a hard time answering that. How shocking. To hear the tapes. I mean, do you need to hear the I mean, we do. We do. I mean, absolutely. Because whatever's happening now, we should have been able to do this 4 years ago. The guy has been weekend at Bernie's for a long time. Cash says the Democrats have literally committed political insurrection. Oh, this one's pretty good. I want to start sharing more funny stuff. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Help is on the way. That's pretty funny. Yeah, remember this, by the way. Hold on. There we go. Okay, hold on. It's the very first thing. I wish they would make these players a little easier to navigate. You click it back and then it starts 2 seconds in. But they're trying to tell you that Kamala Harris was not a border czar. That's funny. What does CBS say? Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, don't let them tell you that didn't happen. They definitely made Kamala Harris in charge of the border. We have the other videos. Kamala, do you plan on visiting the border? Or why haven't you been to the border? Have you been to the border yet? And she goes, no. Sorry, I had to I said it 3 times to remember exactly how it was phrased. Kamala, have you been to the border? No. And I haven't been to Europe either. What? What? I'm talking about the United States border. So yeah, here we go. This is also happening. Bring the volume down a little bit. Chip Roy is asking if this is an insurrection. Police in riot gear are fighting with thousands of protesters who are approaching the U.S. Capitol. So that's happening now, or 3 hours ago. Has it quelled down or is it ramping up? We shall see. There's an explosion. Man, stuff is so tense right now. And there are millions of potential sleeper cells and fighting aged males positioned across this country in potentially strategic locations who could all be activated at a moment's notice. Prepare. Get trained, get healthy, get ready, get fit mentally, physically, financially. This is important to see. Just, I mean, what a strange world we live in. Let's look at how, just a reminder, how Trump was treated before he became the president. Because he is a likable guy. He's a funny guy. And he's a talented guy. And he's a boss, a CEO, a leader, fearless. Even Mika, Joe, like all these people. Just a quick refresher. Watch this. The View. Look at that. Friendly greetings. Well, they liked him then. You know, they just turn on a dime. and put the attack dogs out. It's sad. It's a shame. Oh, here's that clip I was just telling you about. Little watches. Sorry, let me reset it again. Kamala as border czar. This is a different clip, but she was asked multiple times, and she had the strangest of answers because she's a very strange person. Or she's inebriated or on pills or some imbalance. She's a strange person. Strange laughter. Not today, but I have before and I will again. By the way, where she went, she wasn't at the real border crossing hotspot. She went to a place that was close enough where she could pretend she was there and got a grasp of what was going on. But this isn't a crisis. This is intentional. This is what the Democrats have chosen to do. Anyway, you get it. You get what's going on there. They are all running cover. They're all trying to prop Kamala Harris up. Don't understand why. Don't understand how anyone thinks she was less popular than Biden. We'll just leave you with that. Oh, yeah. Here's a great one as we get to know Kamala because she's been so insignificant and so irrelevant this whole time. Just here's a reminder of her thoughts about prosecuting parents of children for truancy. There you go. Going after parents if the kids do stuff. So, Insurrection Barbie says Kamala Harris will never run on her record. She'll only run against the record she will project onto Donald Trump. So, lies. In 2019, GovTrack's scorecard ranked her as the most radical senator in the Senate. She even ranked below Bernie Sanders. Just 2 days ago, the New York Times rated Harris as the least electable of all the possible Democrat nominees. Below are 17 examples of her alt-left agenda. She will never address her record head on in a general election. Ask why. So, take this for what it's worth. This may or may not be entirely accurate. Feel free to leave a comment if one of these are wrong. I'm just kind of passing this along as interesting. Now that we're trying to learn who Kamala is, now it seems like she succeeded with a success. Of course, succeeded with a successful. That she has emerged victorious after a successful coup. I hope you enjoy those moments where I'm live editing my words. As I'm in the middle of a sentence, I edit the sentence. According to this post, Kamala co-sponsored legislation to protect illegal immigrants from deportation. She backed Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All legislation. She backed banning private health insurance. Wow. Supported giving taxpayer-funded coverage to illegal immigrants. Man. She supported banning fracking and defunding the police. She compared the Immigrations and Custom Enforcement Bureau to the KKK. Could you imagine? She wanted to ban plastic straws. She defended the banning of offshore drilling. She wanted to undo the Trump administration's border security, taking 94 executive actions in their first 100 days to rescind nearly every Trump-era measure. This is all on them. They did this. 94 executive actions rescinded. And they created, it's not a border crisis. It's a planned invasion of the Democrats. According to this post, Kamala also supported decriminalizing illegal border crossings. She said she wouldn't treat illegal aliens as criminals, even though they are. She called for starting ICE from scratch. She argued that temporarily closing the border violated federal law. She raised money for the Minnesota Freedom Fund, a far-left organization that pays to bail out of jail violent criminals, including those accused of murder and rape. She supported Los Angeles's cuts to their police department, and she called efforts to add more police to the streets wrong-headed thinking. So ask somebody in a blue city if you'd rather have more cops or less cops. We retweeted this, just accidentally saw this, and it sounded good. Seemed like a great way to recenter and refocus. So, dear universe, you could obviously say, dear Lord above, dear Heavenly Father. You could pray to whatever you, grand architect, universe, whatever you want to call it. But this says, thank you for all the this is a meditation / prayer. Dear universe, thank you for all the possibilities I have. Please give me motivation to use them today. Some strength to make my ideas come to life. I'd be deeply grateful if you gave me just a little bit more energy to make the next small step toward my big dreams. I loved that. I think we need to kind of connect in regards to focus, discernment, and guidance, energy. By the way, maybe we could have some of that energy to see Kim Cheatle prosecuted and thrown in prison. This is interesting. Keep an eye on the Earth. We're all watching these other things happening, and they are important. But this is Yellowstone This is Biscuit Basin in Yellowstone National Park, blowing up and destroying a nearby boardwalk as tourists could be seen running to safety. So beware if there's going to be some major Earth changes as well. Here's this video. We got full screen again. Here we go. Look at that. Showering the ground with rocks and stuff. Now, I don't know if it's Yellowstone, but they do have, I don't know, there's a caldera or there's some volcano or something in the Pacific Northwest. Maybe it's Yellowstone, but they say if that thing goes out, I mean, that could be a what do they call it? Not a coronal mass ejection, something, a world event, a catastrophic mass casualty of, or it's called something. It could block out the sun and just cover the entire Earth with dust for a long time. I mean, it would be so much chaos. So look, it's just always good to be prepared. Water filtration, supplies, training, knowledge, fitness. Probably just a good reminder. This would be an awesome time to be prepared and just keep your eye on stuff. Tom Fitton put this out. This is not good news. Federal judge has struck down an Ohio law that limits disabled voters with absentee ballots. Yeah, these absentee ballots, no. I mean, look, there is a tiny number of people who can request a ballot, and it should be limited to, well, anyway, HB 458 made it a felony for a person who's not an election official or a mail carrier to possess or return the absentee ballot of a disabled voter unless that person delivering the ballot is on a list of specific relatives. A judge ruled Monday, as it stands, the bill infringes on Ms. Kuzera's federally granted rights, which in turn infringe on Ms. Kuzera's fundamental right to vote. So they're citing the 1965 Voting Rights Act. But this is just once again opening the possibility for voter fraud. Where's the part of the article? Okay, Ohio's Republican Secretary of State will soon finalize the state's voter registration roll audit, which flagged and will purge 159,000 inactive Ohio voters who failed to vote or update their information over a 6-year period covering 12 elections at 2 a year. Well, I mean, if you're not voting, that's an interesting question. If I sign up to vote and I just don't feel like it for a few terms, shouldn't I have the right to suddenly decide to do it? I mean, maybe, but also maybe not. Maybe, you know, it's use it or lose it. If you don't renew, you have to just kind of assume that you're not interested. And if you're not interested in voting, that vote could then be taken and given to other people. So if you're not doing it, you got to protect against other people doing it. I see both sides, but you want to vote, go to the polling place, do it on the day of, paper ballot, cameras, hold all the ballots, keep them in paper boxes, 1,000 boxes per box. Republican and Democrat both have to sign off on the number inside, seal them up, wrap them up, shrink wrap them, hold on to them for potential recount later. It's not rocket science. Pretty straightforward to me. But keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be a lot of wrangling over the next 100 days. Since we're talking about Kamala, let's remind you of the time Laura Loomer talked with her in the airport. So, yeah, it's time to bring this energy back. Oh, I apologize. That was not Laura Loomer. That was Representative Anna Paulina Luna. She's pretty great regarding the open border policies. Oh, yeah, this is Thomas Massey saying today Congress will undertake political theater on behalf of the State Department. The purpose of having Netanyahu address Congress is to bolster his political standing in Israel and to quell international opposition to his war. I don't feel like being a prop, so I won't be attending. I don't know, calling it his war? I mean, Hamas started the war, right? I mean, calling it his war, it's just kind of, I don't know. But that's based Thomas Massey. Yeah, but this has happened in Axios is saying the Trump campaign and Republicans have tagged Kamala Harris repeatedly with the border czar title, which she never actually had. And Benny Johnson said this is a blatant lie and should be retracted. Elon puts out here, shouldn't the nominee be decided by a party vote or democracy, etc.? This classic meme, if the DNC can replace Biden against voter wishes, then they were never about democracy. I agree. Oh, finally, let's end on this one. Actually, this one too. In Brooklyn, Ali London is saying New Yorkers are protesting against migrants being housed in their neighborhood. There's been a measles outbreak and you've ignored us. There's been shit work and sex work and human trafficking and you've ignored us. That's the problem with censoring. I sometimes don't know which word you're trying to use, but we commented that New Yorkers are angry. We spoke to many in the Bronx who are fed up with deep state Democrat policies. Because look, Biden or no Biden, Harris, no Harris, this is about the Democrat Party. They must be absolutely lambasted and embarrassed in this election if America is to survive. But this is Joey Manarino showing James O'Keefe of OMG, O'Keefe Media Group, saying this is how Kamala raised all that money in one day. Silver Throat's donors mostly had no idea they even donated. Watch every second of this. And this is the Democrats' diabolical money laundering scheme. They take someone with a few $100,000 and then they find ways to funnel it to all these unsuspecting people. They just need to have just like they're trying to do in the ballot right now in 2024 for the presidential election. They flooded illegal aliens into the country so that they can get them on the voter rolls somewhere, get them an ID somewhere so that they can get a mail-in ballot. They don't need to go vote. They're going to try to collect all of those people who got a state-issued identification card. Maybe the state doesn't have clear voting laws that say you have to be a citizen to vote in the election, although I do recommend and hope that SCOTUS chimes in and overrules any state policy that would allow a non-citizen to vote, because that's just insanity. You can't vote in somebody else's board of directors if you're not a member. If you're not an owner if you don't have shares, you don't get a vote. An illegal alien does not have a share. Hence, they don't get to vote. So O'Keefe Media Group, check that out. That's a longer video. But yeah, it's shell corporations that are just humans. And that's what their voting thing is. So interesting. 81 million votes and $81 million raised yesterday. Almost feels like a big double-barreled middle finger at the American people. Like, what are you going to do about it? All right, I'll show you this one too. It's kind of funny. Quick reminder, Elon Musk is an African-American and Kamala Harris is not. She's Indian and Jamaican. Elon Musk is from Africa, currently in America. So there's that. Jack Smith's appeal of Eileen Cannon's dismissal has been docketed with the 11th Circuit. Let's see if the special counsel files for an expedited review. They're still messing around on this Mar-a-Lago stuff. Yeah, they're trying to revision stories from 2021 and 2022 to pretend that Kamala is not the border czar. Once again, citing Axios. So I think it's important that you see that. Anyway, I think we will wrap it up on that point. That was a list of all the things that we found interesting today out in the universe. Please tag us and follow us. The places you can support us. We are getting, trying to get set up with subscriptions on X. It's a bit of a process, so we'll let you know. But in the meantime, if you'd like to support independent journalism that goes to Washington, D.C., that goes to the Bronx, that goes to Milwaukee, that goes to the Bundy Ranch, that goes to D.C. again on January 6th, we try to go places that are interesting, but, you know, every trip is at least $1,000 in expenditures. So if you want to rely on ABC and Fox, fine. But if you'd like to kind of get in and assist and sign up to be a long-term supporter of independent media, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/The New American Media. You can subscribe for $5 a month, $15 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month. Whatever you got, we'll take it. We definitely appreciate it. This is a labor of love, and we feel duty bound to push for this stuff. So your support is helpful. Also on Venmo, at Brian Engelman, BrianEngelman. So thank you much. Those are some of the places. Also, our podcast is on Spotify, the Agree to Disagree Show. Link up with us there. Rumble channel, we need more subscribers there. We're getting much more of a draw on our Rumble videos than we are on YouTube. It's so interesting. We got millions of views on YouTube. We got 6,500 followers, but like they kind of cap the number of people that are allowed to see our content. It's really weird what their algorithm does to throttle and throw us into glass ceilings. Rumble doesn't do that. So if you can sign up and follow us on Rumble, The New American Media, I'd appreciate it. Follow our Truth Social account, The New American Media. Also on X at American_media_. We're on Telegram, TNAM for The New American Media. TNAM and TNAM chat. Link up with us on Telegram. YouTube.com/@The New American Media. Search The New American Media, hit subscribe, and click the notification bell. Click the like button and the hearts and the subscribe buttons now, please. Appreciate that. We have a Facebook page for The New American Media. Like the page. Facebook zapped it during the last election cycle. Didn't provide a reason. Had no communication. We sent them messages every day. They never gave a reason why they took our page down. They didn't allow us the opportunity to remedy any alleged issue. So we started another page. We're starting from scratch. We lost all those thousands of people that were following us. That's who Meta is. That's why I'm trying to veer away over to Rumble and X, some of the other platforms that don't mess around like that. But follow our page. Look, while it's there, just follow it anyway. And also do a search in the groups on Facebook for TNAM. There's TNAM Preparedness, TNAM Grow Something, TNAM Food and Drink, TNAM Humor. There's a lot of TNAM groups. And they've actually deleted a couple of them, which was really weird. I didn't delete them. I know it's TNAM NASCAR disappeared. TNAM. Anyway, if they're not there, I'm not going to put it in your head. But search TNAM in the groups, in their private groups. So if it comes to the privacy question or the entrance question, it says, how did you find our private group? Say, Brian invited you. And then finally, we are on Instagram. We're at The New American Media, of course, at The New American Media. So, all right, that's what's going on in the news today. Got this show knocked out in under 2 hours. I'm kind of proud of that. Yesterday's went longer, 2.5, maybe 3. I don't know. There's so much going on, and in some ways, it would take me an hour of production time to condense the show even tighter. But, you know, we're playing you clips and we're adding commentary in between the clips. And sometimes those 3 to 5 minute clips, there's a lot in there. So we let it play. But that kind of doubles the volume of our show sometimes. But I think we give you a pretty well-rounded idea of what's happening in the universe. Can't get to every story, but we're getting to a lot of the important ones. And if you'd be so kind as to mention to your friends or to ask people to join, or if you're in our groups, you know, invite a bunch of your other smart friends to join us. Shoot a couple text messages like, hey, these guys are pretty good. They follow them on X or Rumble or YouTube. They need our support because we're trying to provide the media that, you know, the deep state lying legacy media is unwilling to do. That's what they always say about immigration, right? Like, oh, we need people to do the jobs Americans aren't willing to do. Well, we're trying to do a job that the mainstream media, doggone it, I said that wword. That's not what you say. The lying legacy media. We're doing the job that the lying legacy propaganda media is unwilling to do. So we will co-opt your language. Remember when Hillary Clinton tried to say Trump was doing something with fake news? He's like, you're fake news. Yeah, because you'd be in jail. Fake news. So let's co-opt the verbiage of those people. And keep your eyes peeled for what's happening in Washington. Sure seems like there's a lot of angst over the war in Gaza. Keep your eyes peeled, people. All right. We'll be back tomorrow. I think TV's Blake Wally will be joining us. We'll try to go for, we're going to aim at 3 p.m. Eastern time for a live broadcast in the same studio. We've done that several times now. That's getting fun. So we'll keep you posted. Connect in all the places. We appreciate you. We love you.